Welcome to another session of Capitalize Crypto Room. Just like before, this is all about talking about the crypto markets, analyzing the charts, creating discussion around different assets, maybe spotting opportunities. And I'm here for you, and hopefully I'll get to hear from you as well. So just like last week, let's start by looking at Bitcoin. And remove myself. And if you have any question, please write on the chat. So let's get started. Let's look at Bitcoin and see what happens today. And we got an interesting day because we've reached 60K and actually already went under 60K. So today's low was at 58,500, which is pretty low for past couple of days. But let's start again by drawing our support and resistance. So what we quickly identify, we are on the 4-hour chart. So we can quickly identify this area of interest. And also this area here, which we're actually approaching. We had another support around here, and we saw that the price kind of stopped here before it continued on its next target, which is the next support. I don't know about Bitcoin trade, if there's any opportunity here, but when the Bitcoin goes down, everything goes down. And so this is our indicator for the rest of the crypto coins. So it's always interesting to see what happens in the Bitcoin before we actually place a trade somewhere else. Let's see what happened 2 days ago, 4 days ago. We've reached all-time high at 69 with a lot of trades. If we look at the volume, almost 26,000 transactions during that particular bar, which was quite a sell-off. And this is Binance alone. And obviously the price went down afterwards, but doesn't indicate any trend so far. There's something interesting that I wanted to show you. Again, just very, very quickly, you can look at the logarithmic scale. We touched about it previously. So let's look at the weekly chart. And we can see that in that scale, this current downtrend is really, it's just a blimp in the grand scheme of things. So let's continue and bring it back to a regular scale. And if you have any questions you wanted me to talk about and analyze specific crypto coin, write that coin in the chat and I'll do my best. Let's start by going through some of the coins that we talked about last week and see what happened there. So let's start with Ethereum, and let's start with 4-hour chart. So when we talked about Ethereum last week, we were at the all-time high, around 48. We've identified 43.80-ish as a support, previous resistance turned support, and said that an opportunity could be when we reach back in this green line, 44.04. When we get close to the support, we might take a long trade, and our stop would be at 42.78. Now, it all depends on price action. Now, if we look at the 1-hour chart, we can see that we did reach that area today, actually, but with price action that could kept us out. And the reason I say that, we can see that the volume is very, very high, which means which means that there's a big sell-off here, and we might want to wait before we actually get in a trade and see what happens later. And so because we had such a high volume, we should have waited. And if we did wait, we saw that the price continued to drop and we wouldn't get in a trade. If we were a bit impatient and we got in a trade, even though the price action didn't actually tell the right story, that trade would be a loss. So that would, we will lose 1x on that trade if we would have gotten into it. So interesting to see what happens here in the next couple of days. Let's go back or move forward to the next coin, which is Shiba coin that a lot of people love. We didn't really actually said that there's an opportunity here to buy because it went up so massively and there was a clear downtrend. We were getting close to the support, to the first support, but we see that we're now kind of in a stagnation in a way. Still don't see here an interesting opportunity, so I will move forward. So Avalanche, this is a nice trade. Let's look at a 4-hour chart. So when we talked about Avalanche, we were here in the green, in the purple line. That was last week, and we said that a nice support would be around 80.6, and it's an area between 80.6 to 82, and we said 82.5, and we said that at 83-ish is an area that we can take a trade. So we can see that we had a breaking of that area and the support, but again, with a very strong volume. So let's go back to the 1-hour chart. I can see what happened here. We saw that the price reached with a very high volume. And so I would have waited at that point, but look what happened later. We came back into the same area, the green line, with much lower volumes, which means, if we have a floor and we want to break that floor, and we use a 20 kilo hammer and try to break the floor and we are unsuccessful, if we later come with a much smaller hammer, we want to break that floor. And this is what happened here. So here I would definitely get in a trade. And last week we said, okay, if we get in a trade, our stop will be here at 76.9. So let's draw using the tool provided to us by TradingView. Let's draw that trade. If we would have gotten here, and this would be our stop, and we want to get 3 times the risk. So if you don't know that tool, this tool shows us a position, in that case a long position, and here we can see the risk reward ratio. And if we were to place a 3-to-1 risk reward ratio, we can see that this trade would actually be a winner. And that's a classic trade. The first time it hit, it was too dangerous. It went back, went down again with much lower volumes. This is a great trade. And anyone who took that trade would made 3x on their money. So if you took the Ethereum trade and lost X, you made 3x here, you're up 2x on your money. So this is a great trade. Looking forward, let's see what we have here. Like with all coins, we're going back down. And you know what? When crypto goes down, all other coins goes down. So if we spot a lot of opportunity in other coins, because all of them are going down simultaneously, I would suggest only take 1 or 2 trades, because if they're all going down according to the Bitcoin and they all lose at the same time, then it doesn't worth the risk. So maybe take 1, 2 trades that you feel most comfortable with. That was a great trade. I mean, from today onward. Let's look at Riff. This was a coin that you're referring to. You guys have buffering issues? So hopefully it will be better in the rerun. You can watch it if you're having problems right now. Let's look at Riff. So We analyzed it last week. Let's do it again. Last week we were here on the purple line. Let's start by going backwards. Let's take a weekly chart and draw support and resistance. It hasn't been trading much, so let's take the daily one. And again, I remember what we said. There wasn't a real clear indication. Okay, I see an area here of support turning resistance and resistance again and support again. We're right on it right now. But again, I don't see a great opportunity because it's not a clear trend that I want to join. So I'm going to leave RIF alone at this time and go to ADA. So ADA was interesting as well. We've identified a support at 1.9-ish. And we were here last week. Let me erase that line. And let's move to a smaller time frame, 4 hour. So we were here, all the way up here. And if you recall, we said, okay, this is an area of support. If we get back to here, the green line at 1948 would be a good opportunity to go up. Again, if price action actually permits. Let's look what happened in the 1 hour chart. So we can see that we had that drop with a high volume. So once again, this is not an indication to get in the trade. I would want it to come back with a much lower volumes, which it has here. It came back today, much smaller volumes than this one, but still high volumes in comparison to the previous bars. So this is you could take that trade and you can pass that trade. If you take that trade, obviously you would have lost. And by the way, we can see that we put a stop at 178, and we put that stop here because this was the previous low. We put it below it, but you can see that we're not the only ones that done that, and that's why this bar went all the way here, took our stops, and went all the way back. If it goes all the way back, it's not going to be a surprise because it's in purpose. So that's a losing trade if you would have taken it. I'm not sure I would have, just because there are so many trades at the same time because the markets move together. So it might, decrease the legitimacy of the trade. If all currencies go down at the same day and we've identified the areas of interest, it's not a natural movement, not like we had in Avalanche. So Avalanche went down 2 days ago when the markets were fine. But if all coins go down at the same time, it's not an indication, or it's less of an indication. So let's take a look at the next one, which is Solana. When we talked about Solana, we were here, and we said that if we're coming back to the green line, it could be an opportunity for a trade, but we have to take quite a drawdown if we want to maintain our position. We need to put our stop at 197, which means, let's take a look, which means that 10%. So if we did take that trade and there was an opportunity, let's take a look. We had quite a high volume when it reached here. So I wouldn't necessarily take that trade. Almost reached again on the 12th, but today we did reach that level again with high volumes. Again, it's downtrend, trending with all other coins. So, I'm not sure I would have taken the trade today. It's still available, it's still up for grabs, but let's see where we need to get to make that worth our time or risk. So let's take that tool. Our stop will be here. In order to get to 3-to-1 risk reward ratio, we need our stop to be here, our take profit, sorry. So that's quite a long way. Let's move in a bigger time frame. It's a long way, but if you look at Solana and what if it's done in the past couple of days and weeks, it's a target. It can reach there. So I'm not sure about that trade, but this is what we've discussed last time. Let's look at Phantom. So last week we were here. And let's look at support and resistance line. We have a clear one here, right? We're in a daily chart, so let's put the line here. And we had one around here as well. So let's look at 4-hour chart. And we see that we broke the first line with a strong, very high volume. Again, touched it very mildly. Still high volume, but much less than the other one. This could be an opportunity. If I were to get in here, would probably put my stop clear cut here or below this one, which means I would have been stopped out or maybe just close to being stopped out. But we are getting close to this support in 192. And 192 could be interesting. So let's consider getting here. It's a 96. Consider getting in a trade here. So now we want to know if we were to get in here, where would we close that trade? And it should be below the previous support. So we have kind of a support over here. So I would put my stop at least here. If I'm, if I want to be super safe, it would be here. But it's so far. This one is so far away that I'm not sure it's worth my time. If I were to take a little bit more risk, I would put it here. And let's see where our stop needs to be in this case. So let's move to 1-hour chart. Use that tool. Then if we're getting in here, and this is our stop, it's like 40% away, 37, 38%. It's way back. I'm not sure about this one. I mean, it's not really far, the take profit not really far from where it's been already. And if you look at the daily chart, we might see it better. But I don't know about this one. I don't think this is a trade I would have taken. So guys, I understand there's a buffering issue. So I'll go ahead and continue with this just for the recording so you can watch it later on. Let's look at Terra. So this is a very, very interesting coin here. We have a support around this area. And we have another one here and resistance, support here. I mean, I'm not surprised that price dropped and stopped here because it was the previous resistance turn support area. So here was a good opportunity. Let's take it down to 1-hour chart. And we can see that high volumes, right? You can see this is a bar that created very high volumes. If we get back here with much lower volumes, again, this could be an opportunity, but in today's atmosphere where everything goes down as Bitcoin goes down, again, I would take 1 or 2 trades, not more than that, because it adds up and it adds to the risk. So let's say that we would have gotten here in a trade. Where would we want to get out? So looking at the 1 hour chart into more details, we see that this area, we have resistance, resistance, support, resistance, resistance, support, support. If I put a line here, it's a fair line, in my opinion. And so I would place my stop below this one. So around and it's not far away, so it could be risky. We see the movements. But if we were to do that, let's see. This is a 5% risk, 3-1, which means we can close the trade here. Definitely doable. It's a trade I would consider. I would even consider moving my stop downward, as I have the room. I have the room to grow. So this is an interesting trade, and let's place a line right here, and we will go back to it next time. Polkadot. Let's look at Polkadot. Let's look at the weekly chart. And as you have trouble to see this live stream, because I understand it's very choppy, and you can't communicate with me, then maybe today I will make it keep it short, and we'll try and fix that problem for next time. So Polkadot, very interesting, right? Went all the way from 10 to 50 in a couple of weeks. So definite level over here, right? It is another one here, right? This area. And then we have this area. I believe we're at a level of support and resistance. Let's take a look at 4-hour chart for Polkadot. Okay. I think there's a level, fair level over here. And more accurately, if we can move this one over here. So right now, where the support, if I were to take a trade right now, I would do it from pretty much where we stand right now. Let's remove this one. Let's take down the notch to 1-hour chart. And on a 1-hour chart, I would say this is a fair area, anywhere, say above 40, because 40 is a level, problematic drawn level. So if I were to take the trade here, then my stop will be below this support area, and then the risk reward 3-1, 2-1 is also fine. 3-1 is best, obviously. So 3-1, it's definitely doable. Definitely doable. That's 46%, but hey, in the crypto space, it is what it is. So let's move next to Axie Infinity. I think someone asked about this one last week, and very looks the same as Polkadot in terms of the opportunity right now. We just went down all the way to this support, We have one here. This is an area here, here, here. Resistance. Again, if I were to take a trade here, do it from this level to this one, 1 to 3, it's quite far. I don't know if it's worth the risk. Maybe a 1 to 2 trade. It's an interesting one. I'll do the rest of these 4, just because the video is choppy and you can't watch it live. You'll watch it probably later on. I'll keep it short. Okay. Engine. What do we have here? I see, first of all, we have this area, and